School had been extremely long that first day, and little did I know that it would soon turn out to be every day. But nevertheless, I was still just so happy to be in France. When we were released from class, we all stood outside the school building, not really knowing where to go or what to do. We had this massive new world before us to play around in and explore, but at that moment, it felt too big to take in immediately. After a few minutes of just standing around and talking, someone suggested that we head to a place called Belcourt, a large square in the center of Lyon. Many of us needed to buy a book for class in a bookstore near the square, so we thought heading to Belcourt for the day would be a good way to explore the city. Surprisingly, for early January, especially when compared to the weather back at Dartmouth, it was really sunny and warm, and for someone who's always wearing a jacket, even I had just a sweater on. But anyways, we crossed the bridge in front of our school that overlooked the road and walked towards Belcourt. Entering Place Belcourt, we were greeted with this huge open space filled with people either lounging alongside the large statue of Louis XIV in the center of the square or hustling from shop to shop. I remember hearing French conversations bouncing in the air as people passed by me. In the moment, it kind of felt like I just stepped off into the spaceship in this foreign planet, and there was just so much out there for me to explore and discover. As I could barely take it all in, all of a sudden I looked up and I saw this giant Ferris wheel spinning around in the sky. The sun hit it perfectly where its rays reflected really nicely, so I immediately took a picture of it to capture the moment. And I honestly think this is the best picture I've ever taken. When I was staring up at the Ferris wheel, though, I knew I had to go on it. I had never been on a Ferris wheel before, and I knew I had to try it out. But I couldn't do it that day because I was a little too tired after school, and I just wanted to get the book I needed for class and find my way back home. But I knew I had to come back to it. It was something I had to do. Over the coming weeks, as I walked to school each morning or walked along the streets of Belcourt, I kept seeing it over and over again. Time continued passing by, and I never got around to riding it. I'd tell myself, I have to do it. I have to ride the Ferris wheel, and I just never did. Soon enough, it was week 9 of the program, and the Ferris wheel was being taken apart, being taken down. And right in front of me, Lyon was changing. Lyon had changed. I remember around week 4 or 5 of the program, I began to refer to my host family's apartment as home, and not just to my classmates, but also my host family, and even my family back in Boston. And so, what I think made the idea of the Ferris wheel being taken down so shocking was that you just don't really think of your home changing. Home is supposed to be somewhere that you can always come back to and find things just as you had left them to be. It's supposed to be constant and unmoving, but all of a sudden, Lyon had lost that feeling. And don't get me wrong, I still loved and still do love Lyon endlessly, but it was a real shock to see part of the city going away. Within the small and minute amount of time that I had spent in the city, Lyon had changed before my very eyes. It was weird to think that, although I had only been there for 10 weeks, the city was changing. Things that I saw on the first day of school were different by the time I was leaving. Looking back on it now, though, maybe this change was good, or at least significant. Maybe I had become so familiar with Lyon that as soon as a piece of its identity was removed, I instantly noticed it. I think we look to homes as places where everything stays the same, but once that isn't the case, we call it out almost instinctively. But that doesn't make it any less of our home. It's just our home evolving.
Je ne veux pas travailler, je ne veux pas déjeuner, je veux seulement oublier, et puis je fume. Déjà j'ai connu le parfum de l'amour, 1 million de roses n'embaumerait pas autant. Maintenant une seule fleur dans mes ans